Welcome in on this Thanksgiving Eve. Maize and Blue Reviews. Good afternoon, Michigan football. We're ready to kick this one off. I used to say when I was young, people would always ask you, what's your favorite holiday? And Thanksgiving, a lot of times was my answer. It's still up there, but it's really when you say Thanksgiving, it means Black Friday, the weekend, and really, I think it started on a Monday just to spill over last week. If you like football, and everyone does, and you like basketball, it's just a cornucopia of sports. And sure, you get the games are staggered and everything else, but you get like college basketball now. I mean, you can just start if you're just somebody that likes watching games, and eating. I mean, this is your life. This is it. Thanksgiving 24. It's great to be with you here. College football season. It's down to these rivalry games. And with Michigan, I'm looking back, which I found was fun. And I am going to look forward to talk about this game against Ohio State first. I also want to tell you that you may have heard about Bryce Underwood committing to Michigan, and now what's going to happen in the wake of the Underwood commitment? Well, it needs to be updated seemingly every hour, and that's where you come in and you want to know and you want the accurate information. Well, you join up with the Maize and Blue Review by going to michigan.rivals.com. And right now there is a special. The special is $25 for your first year using promo code QBU25. QBU25. Offer valid for a limited time. So that's how that's going down. Now, when I look ahead, it's going to be to Bryce Underwood. I've got the film of Bryce Underwood, and I think everyone that's watching this right now has watched Bryce Underwood more than me. A couple years ago, he may have been a sophomore, but I think he was a freshman. There was a video of Underwood, and he was wearing Michigan cleats, and he was throwing to a Michigan wide receiver who I don't remember who it was, or a guy that was committed to Michigan. Maybe he didn't even go to Michigan, but he was doing a Patrick Mahomes. Like he was looking over to the right, and then he was throwing back to the left, a la Mahomes. And when I saw it, I thought Underwood looked like a senior in college. He was big, and the arm talent was there. It was a 5-10 second clip. That's the most I've seen from him. And you say, what are you talking about? This is like one of the most ballyhooed players ever, local legend. Yeah, I would agree with all of that. I didn't think that Michigan had a shot at getting Bryce Underwood. I didn't think they were going to flip Bryce Underwood. I've said it a bunch of times when it came up. It was like, you got a chance of winning the lottery. I thought they had a little bit better chance than winning the lottery than getting a better chance of getting Underwood than winning the lottery. But it was, I thought, a really long shot. But so they got him. And I want to watch a little bit of the film. You'll get my first impressions. Now, I have scrolled through Twitter and maybe I've seen a couple seconds, but I really wasn't taking it in like, not evaluating it, not looking at it and saying, hey, what do I think? So I'm going to do that in real time coming up on this show. I'm really looking forward to that. That is going to be a lot of fun. Now, you're out there, like to get your impressions on all of it, see where the people are at as well. John is giving everybody the happy Thanksgiving and go blue and talking about getting it done on Saturday. That's what I like to see. And here's UM talking about the same thing about with Underwood. Says someone compared him to Vince Young coming out of high school. Now, Vince Young was one of the great college quarterbacks of all time, 6'5", and remember watching Michigan take on Vince Young in the Rose Bowl. That was a great game. Michigan, it doesn't get talked about as much because Michigan ended up on the short side. When Michigan wins, it's a great game. You tend to, revel in those games. The ones that are great games that Michigan ends up coming up short in, not so much. So I like the comps. I was reading a thread on the Maize and Blue Review on the Den on Bryce Underwood, and I saw someone compare him to Lamar Jackson. You're talking about Vince Young. I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to see it, and all of that. Matthew is looking at 100-20, dropping a C note on the Buckeyes. Here's a Trevor Lawrence comparison. I like that one as well. A Lawrence, Vince Young, Lamar Jackson. That's pretty good. Suck guys. There's someone else, Steven, who I don't know if I've ever seen Steven on here before talking about Michigan via Facebook. That's good. Now, I love the positivity. I like the optimism from the fans. And when I look back, it'll be at the last 3 years. About those last 3 years. So when I look ahead, I look at Bryce Underwood. But this particular team, let's just start it out. It feels like I'm starting it out on a sour note. This has been a poorly coached team this year. Michigan from the very start. Sharon Moore really had a bad year. And his team hasn't helped him. The bad leadership, bad combination, poorly coached, bad leadership. I think Michigan's going to get rolled by 20 coming up on Saturday. And then it's on to bowl season and new beginnings, which I think that's, turn the page pretty quick. There have been a lot of years in the past where if Michigan, they get their teeth kicked in, and it ruined my Saturday. I didn't like watching any other games. I'm going to really make it a point not to let that happen to me this Saturday. And then, Sharon Moore after this game and into the bowl season really needs to, I don't know if he can do it himself. He said a week or 2 weeks ago that he talks to the Harbaughs, both John and Jim. Mike Tomlin is somebody that he speaks with, that he can bounce things off. I think talking to those guys and getting some direction on where to go in the offseason will be a great start for Sharon, because he has to figure out his game day protocols with the communication from the booth and to his headset, what's going on the sideline. That's going to be big, because that was really bad this year. He also needs to figure out how he's evaluating his talent. Him and his coaches, what they see, what they talk about, when they say they self-scout and they go back, having these conversations on why did we go with this guy? Why did we go with that? And why was this our plan? Because it was really botched from the beginning. So, I don't know if they were done in from the beginning, but the indecisiveness was obvious from day one. And it affected this team and it affected this season. So I would also suggest that if there's one thing that he could do that might sound easy, that he needs to scrap his idea of how he's divvying up the playing time. And that was apparent from early on when he couldn't pick a quarterback, couldn't pick a center, couldn't pick a right tackle, was rotating his guys on the defense. They weren't ready to play Texas. I mean, it was really bad. So I think he needs to change that up. Find out however you want to do it in the evaluation process and getting going and finding out who's going to play. He needs to do it sooner. So when the season starts and then they're playing the Sooners in week 2, that the guys that are going to be important in that game have already played and understand these are going to be the guys that are counting on. It's like it wasn't like, it was a situation where they were not prepared because of the switching around and nobody really knew heads and tails. And, that was a part of it with Sharon Moore. So those are the things. And are those things correctable? That's the one part that I think about when you really have a season like this in your first year. I think, yeah, yeah, they can be. It doesn't make you feel real good when there's just a laundry list of this was wrong, this was wrong, this was wrong, this was wrong, this was wrong. And then you look, what was right? And it's a blank page. There's not a lot that you would look onto this page. And I'm just telling you how it is. Like, if you, that I know that it hurts a little bit because Michigan played a good game their last time out against Northwestern, which, heading into Thanksgiving, you don't want to deal with what's going to happen Saturday. So I'm going to move on pretty quickly. That's it. That's how I feel about, the game coming up on Saturday and that. But I look back at the last 3 years, and I do feel good about that. And even this year, so Michigan went all the way to the mountaintop, and the last 3 years have been the best 3 years that I've ever seen with Michigan football. It's just incredible all the way through the 21 game with the snow and finally getting off the schneid and then going down to Columbus in 22 and winning in the manner that they did. J.J. McCarthy needed one thing. All of 22, kept saying, boy, I like J.J. Boy, he's really got it. He's nice. Can't really throw the ball downfield. He hasn't been able to attack downfield. And then he was able to against Ohio State, broke it out against Ohio State, the downfield passing game. And then the one-arm bandit, Donovan Edwards, with the 2 long runs. It doesn't matter how old I get. At some point, we're talking about Michigan football, and somebody says, give me some of your favorite memories. The 22 game is going to be talked about. And then last year, every game, once you win it all, like I did last year, every game, from East Carolina to the Penn State game to Iowa, the Rose Bowl, to the national championship game, every single second of those is, canonized and talked about forever. And it was Michigan, they couldn't go any higher. They did it. And so this year they dropped all the way down to the very bottom. But even before the season is over, and this is where we look ahead, they get Underwood, which makes it feel like they've turned this around. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and that they're back, and that they can get back to where they were these last 3 years with just, I say, one little single commitment. I mean, it's a little bigger than that. But Michigan went all the way up. Now they're all the way down, but here they are pointing with you say they only got one way to go, but we understand the effect that Underwood has had. I try to say it can't be underplayed or anything like that. I mean, it's overstated, I guess is a better word to say it. It's got Michigan in a good spot. So there we go. And that's it. So I'll take some of the feedback and then we'll watch a little bit of this Underwood and get the first impressions of what's going on with Bryce. My first impressions, and that's it. Good to see Steven. Talking about, I think our best matchup is their O-line against our D-line. If we win there, we have a shot. Well, if you were asking me where Michigan has the best advantage, I would agree with you. Michigan's defensive line, Mason Graham, you go down the line there. And yeah, I would also, look at Michigan's edges as well, being able to get pressure on the quarterback. And Ohio State, they lost their center. He did a good job with against Indiana. But I think that's right. If you can disrupt in there and force some turnovers, keep the explosive plays. Can they keep, whether you want to say 20 or 25 yards Can they keep those to under 3? I don't know, 4? Could Michigan win with giving up 4 explosive plays? No. So it's got to be 3, less than 3 explosive plays, and then really have a great day with your offensive line and your running game. That is the recipe for victory. I am with you on that. John asking the question about Poggi. Do I think he had something to do with the offense last week? He's on the team, and I tend to think he did. No, I think people like Biff Poggi, and if Poggi can be an asset, but I don't think he had anything to do with the game plan. I think what happened last week is that Michigan was playing their last home game. They have had a miserable season, and they had an opponent that they could line up and smash them in the mouth, and they were able to do it. And I don't want to take anything away from them there. They had a nice win in the 50 spot, and it was the highlight of the season. They played a full game and all of that. I don't know if it, because of the infighting and some of the poor leadership that they had in the previous days and previous weeks, that they were able to all get on the same page. And now, but I'm not knocking it. But no, I don't think Poggi had anything to do with that. Matt says there's a basketball game tonight. That's right, 8:30, Michigan Xavier, the start of a real gauntlet for Dusty May and company. We'll find out what they're all about here with the teams that they have to play. Steven's talking about hopefully they beat Ohio State. And where was that all year long? I've gone over that one. And yeah, they'll have to run the ball. So let's get to this. Let's get to this video, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say after watching them. I've already seen on here Vince Young, Trevor Lawrence comparisons. Somebody said Lamar Jackson, and I have not watched Bryce Underwood. Where they got him, 6'4", and here he is. We've got some of the tape up here. Looking at, I didn't see the first throw. Are they playing against Michigan? Big kid standing there. Here he is running. Oh, and here he is taking off right down the sideline. He's got an athletic build over there at 6'4". That was a nice break of a tackle from his running back. He threw a little screen. Nice to see, not just the deep ball, but being able to show a little touch. Ooh. Now, I got to say that particular throw, all arm, when you're just, pumping it out there, I like what I see with the flip of the wrist. And here's him taking it over right end and just running down, making – he looks like a man amongst boys here. Spike. It's going to cost you 15 yards. I would think. Can't be spiking the ball in high school. I don't think. But, man, I love the flip of the wrist, and then I love the arm talent. When he's squaring up, was it that? It reminds me of throwing like that. I got to think about it a little bit more. But big kid, and like that arm. I didn't know that. I thought he was more of just a pocket passer, but what I see here is that he's pretty athletic. Big guy showing some moves. Big guy that can move around in the pocket. And this is, you're a 5-star. I think I was expecting that I was going to see a guy that looked like an otherworldly talent, looked like the best player in high school in the country, looking like a guy that could command 9, 10, 11, $12 million or more. The most money ever given to a prep player. So, yeah, when you're watching him, maybe you expect to see a little something. You wonder, how Belleville ever lost a game with this guy running the ball like he's running the ball right here. I mean, it just looks real easy for him. So somebody said Vince Young earlier. Well, I can say Vince Young was 6'5" and could just run with ease through defenses. What's this, Wayne Memorial he's going against? I know they have the winged helmet. You're going to have to put on a little upper body strength. That'll be pretty easy. Here he is calling his number. He's running the ball up the middle. Nice job. Highlight package. He is almost built like, fumbled the ball. Got it back. Like you'd say a two guard in the NBA. He's running the ball an awful lot here. More than throwing it. John sees a Terrell Pryor. Here's Keegan talking about the popcorn yellow smile. Hadley has been listening to some Bob Ufer to get himself ready. I wish he was here today to get U of M to win this game. Now you're talking. Lamar running and JJ throwing. He's kind of built like a taller Lamar Jackson. So I see the build with Lamar. I'm going to have to wait to college before I'm talking about him, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, when he was running at Louisville, I think Lamar Jackson played as a true freshman at Louisville. He was making mincemeat out of guys in college and looked more explosive. So, yeah, I mean, like, he's the very high, the very top of it all. I see what somebody's saying with Pryor because he's built like Pryor too, but the arm, I'm just seeing him slinging it out there. I haven't seen him throw the ball much down the field. That's what I'd like to see. But we're getting a lot of him running the ball. Yeah, the thing with Vince Young was looking a lot stronger to me. But hey, you see Vince Young, we all see, different things. Here we go. Wow. All right. Now I can see if I was at a game and I just watch him throw the ball 50 yards and watch, okay, we're getting even to see him throw this ball. Okay. I like it. I heard somebody saying they might need to change his delivery out, and I'm going to have to. Can I go back and look at that delivery one more time? I don't see any problem. Let me see if they want to change this delivery at all. I don't see anything that needs to be changed there. I like it. I don't remember who was saying that, but it was somebody that I respected. So, and this is me at first blush, and maybe there's some other things when it comes down to that. Yeah, I like this arm. I like how the motion looks. He's standing in there. I guess the other thing, I mean, this is the most important thing. Look, he's got a whip. Stand in there, deliver the ball from the pocket. That's the most important thing. All this running around, yeah, all that's that's good. Well, they got graphics at a high school game. Crazy. And not just blowing past people into the end zone, running the ball is nice. Okay, here he is doing some backflips, and he is built like Lamar Jackson. The athletic build, a little bit taller than Lamar Jackson. But I see the comp there because of just his body style. He throws the ball with some nice velocity. maybe they'd want to lift his arm up a little bit because he's kind of firing it. But also, what I've seen Lamar Jackson doing recently is throwing it and then like doing a follow through like on a jump shot or something. And I see the build. Yeah, who is that throws the ball that I like? Might take me. We'll see if I can get it before. Everything so far, I like. Here's a it factor. Keegan, built like Lamar. Yeah, he is built like Lamar. Like that. Tim talking about beating the Buckeyes. Sounds good to me. Love to see it. Natural footwork. I don't know if that's possible to have natural footwork. Being light on your feet and having athleticism, he's gonna just he's got a little Matt Stafford 3/4 arm delivery right there. Boy, here's him airing it out. Wow, boy, he's putting these deep balls on the money. Let's see that one again. I think I just like watching out of all of these, the two deep ball. Let's see this one again. Yeah, he's stepping into it. There's nothing not to like there with that throw. Big guy that can throw the ball down the field. And here he is firing one over the middle. For those of you that have been to some games and have watched, you wonder why they don't. Maybe I'd like to see the copy of that CC game that they lost. There are people complaining about the coaches. Here he is firing it down the field again. Whoa, nice throw, nice catch. Hope you're going to tell me that was Dotson playing on the offensive side because it was a heck of a catch. Let's see this throw again. Yeah, I gotta say he does look like Lamar. He is built like Lamar Jackson, and he throws the ball like Lamar Jackson. Now he's running against high schoolers like Lamar runs in the pros. So we got to wait and see. But I love the arm, the arm strength. And I tell you, he's got when you say what was somebody saying natural footwork? When you get somebody that throws the ball and it looks like it does coming out of his hand like this, that there's some things there. Now he's stepping into one. Nothing wrong with that one. Here he was moving around, resetting himself a couple times, and then, firing it 30 yards down on a rope. Gonna get a replay of this one. I like it. Let's see. Nope. Reverse field. That looks like Lamar. Now step up. Woo! That might be the best. That might be the best I've seen so far in this few minutes. Taking a look at it. A couple more. Let's go. Little touch pass. Is that offensive lineman just standing there? I go get an illegal man downfield. I don't know. Does that apply in high school? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the high school rules. Talk about Big 52. It's like 20 yards down the field. I don't think they should have that rule in high school, college, or pro, illegal man downfield. Guys want to run downfield? Let them go. Let them do it. Make the offense more exciting. Yeah, well, I kind of like it. Like what I see. Keegan's liking it. Let's see what the people are saying. He doesn't panic. I see that. Caleb Williams' arm. Manipulating the pocket. Looks like he could start for a lot of D1 teams now. Yeah, here's the thing. When when you're in high school, you look like there's a lot of guys that look great. Look, he looks great. But the whole part about, and I don't know about tempering anybody's expectations. Here's Andres quoting Devin Gardner. High school players are terrible. Yeah, well, I don't. I'll let you. I don't know. I've never heard Devin Gardner say that, but the point about guys that go to Michigan, they almost all look not they look like the Lamar Jackson of whatever position that they're playing, and they're just great. And then they go on and play in college, and things even up for them a little bit. My thing is I don't know about getting him in here and starting him from day one. And he said already that there was. Well, let's see one more throw here. Was this the game they lost against DC? Detroit Catholic Central. He's on the move here. Was that complete? That was a hell of a throw right there. That'd be a good one to end it up on. Wow, touchdown. Well, he just fit that one in there. Let's see that throw again. I'd like to see what somebody looks like when they're throwing it into traffic like that. He threw that. Four guys were four guys around this ball. It's coming up. So he throws it about 35 yards in the air here, 45 yards in the air, into triple coverage. And the ball placement right there is tremendous. See, how many times am I going to watch this one? That's one of those where you're like, ill-advised throw, and then you're like, okay, that's what makes them special. You're throwing in the ball 40, 45 yards down the field on a rope into triple coverage, and the ball just sticks right on a guy. That's a special throw. That's a special player. I've thought about it, and I've seen the players before, and getting them out there from game one or letting them compete with whoever they bring in from the transfer portal. That's what I like. I don't know how much I like having a package where they're going to put him in like they did with JJ. What did JJ really do when he was a freshman? They put him in just to get a snap here or there. When they did start playing him, you could make a case that McCarthy lost the Michigan State game as a true freshman when he was playing. He fumbled the ball twice, lost one of them. Oh, you could blame it on Corum, whatever. The mesh point, he was taller, but I didn't like that. I didn't like it then, but you got to make allowances and everything else. I do like the idea of getting up on some opponents and then putting them in there and letting them play in the fourth quarter. But as we saw this year, and the part about, and this is going to be the tough part here in the offseason for me, and I think for others, watching Sharon Moore and his staff work with the quarterback room this year and then saying, oh, these guys will have a good plan. Hopefully, and I say hopefully, of course, they're not, they need a different plan. They need different eyes. They need someone else with some fresher ideas on the course on what they want to do with Bryce Underwood. But my first inclination is no Bryce Underwood package. Sure, you can play him, but not in special spots like they did with JJ. I don't think they need to do that. But again, sometimes you have to promise guys, this or that, along with giving them $14 million. So that's the other part about it. But if you get him out there and he's that much better than whoever you even bringing into the portal, and yeah, I mean, you're going to go with him. And he's the highest paid, highest recruited, all of these things coming in, tremendous amount of pressure after this season, and he is looked upon. I mean, he is the savior. Most feel like it'll be better that if you get someone coming in the transfer portal that can get some games under his belt, then make the transition. But look, sometimes, you get a very special player from day one. I was looking through some of the guys, and Trevor Lawrence didn't start from game one, but he did get in there eventually, and they were playing him in spots. And I think he rescued him in like the Syracuse game, and then Dabo had seen enough and said and put him in there. But I was looking at some of the guys. Lamar Jackson was one that started as a true freshman. I didn't know Jared Goff will be leading the Lions tomorrow at 12:30 on Thanksgiving. He played as a true freshman, so it doesn't happen a lot. But over these last few years, you see it more. These guys are more prepared. But I'm thinking might need some more strength up top. But I don't know if you're super athletic. I mean, you'd say that about Lamar Jackson too. Lamar's not big enough. Lamar's the best, he's one of the best quarterbacks ever. So, give me some athleticism. I'd like to see how strong when you can throw the ball, you can move around like that. It's exciting. The future's bright. It's going to be fun to see who they're able to put around him over the next week up until signing day, and then what they're able to pull in the transfer portal. But with all of the college football playoff heading into rivalry week, and you see how Penn State looks like they're going to be hosting a game, Michigan should be able to get back and be right into the mix, and we have to see who they end up getting. But if we're sitting here right now, I'm thinking that this team should be in the college football playoffs next year. I'm talking about winning it. I'm not even talking about winning the Big Ten. I'm talking about being in the college football playoffs next year. That's what I think right now. We have to see who they get, see what kind of other personnel they're going to be able to hit in the portal, and then we'll get a lot better feel. But if you're asking me right now, yeah, thinking that Michigan is going to be back in the mix, all the way up, all the way down, and then trajectory right back into that college football playoff. That is what we're looking for from Michigan. Let's see about a few on the feedback, and then I'll tell you about what's going on in the next couple days. Somebody saying Jalen Milroe, but he can make all the throws. He has touch, unlike Milroe. Yeah, I'm not really somebody that knocks Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe is going to be a first-round draft pick this year in the NFL. Jalen Milroe is built like nobody's business. Like he's a giant and can run and throw. So when I see things like he can make all the throws and has touch, unlike Milroe, again, Milroe's a first-round pick. Milroe needs to work on his consistency a little bit, and he didn't have a good game his last time out. But this is the kind of stuff where, he's better than Jalen Milroe. It's like, okay. A lot of people talking about RC. And Ryan Clark saying that he's the best quarterback he's ever seen coming out of high school, better than Stroud, Young, Lawrence, you name them. Yeah, I know a lot of people, that is high praise, and it's great. I like that too. And that's why there's a lot of excitement about it. That's for sure. Here's somebody, Tim, we all bitched because he wanted the starter that year. That doesn't make sense to me. Cam Newton, when he played at Auburn. Cam Newton is such a, so physical in the run game and was built a lot more than what I've seen from Underwood. But yeah, I mean, the kid's a senior in high school, so he could definitely, be that kind of player. Tim said we all wanted JJ in 21, and I think he would if he would have played. He doesn't throw 2 interceptions versus TCU. Well, TCU was after the 22 season, so yeah, I don't know. Oh, you're saying that he would have got the experience in 21? Yeah, here's the thing. It's easy to say that if you had JJ instead of Cade McNamara in 21, that Michigan would have won all their games and they would have played against Georgia, and JJ would have had that experience, and then he would have come back that much better in 22, and they could have beat TCU. I think that's what you're trying to say. And here's the thing: you rarely are you getting, even if you are playing, and these quarterbacks that we mentioned, rarely are you getting in there and being like the most dominant player right off the bat, and doing all these things. It takes a little time to mature and get in there and do all of that. So I don't think that everybody wanted JJ in 21. There's a lot that goes into that position. So as much as people don't like Cade, just automatically putting JJ in there, I can't say here for sure that Michigan would have won the Big Ten with JJ at quarterback in 21. I also think that Cade could have gone undefeated in 22 up to the Ohio State game. That's where JJ broke out, threw the ball down the field. And then he came back and had a phenomenal, of course, season a year ago. But he didn't have to. He was a high pick, but he didn't have to dominate games. It was just the perfect situation for him. Tim backing up his point. Keegan wants to see Mateer from Washington State. I'll tell you, if Michigan got John Mateer from Washington State out of the transfer portal, my excitement level is pretty high for next season and the offseason. He's the guy that I want to. He's a pretty exciting player. He can run it as well as throw it. And just watching him throw the ball, he's got a real flair the way that he plays. I'm with you on that, Keegan. He's on my wish list out of the transfer portal. Let's go. Cut from a different cloth is certain that Underwood's going to be as good as advertising, the training, the development, the mentors. Yeah, he's got it all. And here he is at Michigan, ready to go. But there's the quarterback position and offensive lineman. You got to make sure they're right to have them out there in big spots, or it can hurt their growth and ultimately how good of a player they can be. So you got to be careful with that. But look, me telling everybody, the expectations are through the roof. So I'm ready for it. Maybe he is just a once in a lifetime type player. One thing we haven't been around, there's some programs that every year they're getting, 5-star quarterback, number 1 quarterback, top 5 quarterback. And then they know maybe one out of every 3 or 4 of the generational quarterbacks actually hit. Michigan doesn't get them like this. So Dante Moore just a couple of years ago, and he did play, but he didn't hit. He could still be an outstanding quarterback, and it can take time. Doesn't mean Dante Moore can't be an NFL quarterback. I mean, he can't be a first-round pick. But there's the case where Underwood's way better. Maybe he is. Maybe he is. Again, I don't know even what I'm trying to say here. Because I'm not really trying to. There's no reason for me to take anybody's expectations and say, hey, let's wait a second. Let's see what's going to happen. Or, there's no reason for that. I think get excited, have some fun, and let's go. This kid's better. This is the beginning of the next Michigan football dynasty. Michigan's back as America's team. I'm here. Oh, here he is. Chad Henne started. Yeah, Chad Henne was good as a true freshman. You're right about that. Andre's asking about how do I feel as a day one starter? Thinks it's possible, not a bad option. Definitely have to get him some help up front and need a killer or two outside. Well, that's the thing. If you dropped Underwood into Michigan's team last year, do they win the national championship? If you dropped him into Michigan's team in 22 or 21, you think about the kind of team, those they had everything else, and they had the quarterback, and that's where they've got work to do here in the off season. Tim says Milroe won't be a first round pick. Well, Tim, we'll have a little wager on that. Let's go ahead and screenshot this. I'll go ahead and challenge you that way. I think Milroe will be a first rounder. So there we go. Let's see. We don't realize how much a quarterback matters until you don't have one. Good one. There you go. Pretty important. Let's see. We got a Florida attorneys checking in. All the pressures on Ohio State. Michigan fans can just sit back and fire up. Yeah, there you go. They do have all the pressure. So Cade would have lost that last Illinois game. All right. Maybe. You could be right. Tim says if Underwood's the best player in practice, then he needs to play if he's green or not. I'm not for wasting a year if he could play a year just to sit. He's going to learn more playing. Yeah. Yeah, if he comes in, look, I go back. I remember when the Lions drafted Matt Stafford. I said, you don't want to put – his team just went 0-16 the year before. You don't want to put all of this pressure on him day one. Let Dante Culpepper go out there, and then – when you have your spot, you get Stafford. But Stafford in training camp was clearly the better quarterback. And you say, well, what's his grasp of the offense? And the coaches are like, this guy knows more about the offense than we do. He's well versed in it now, like he's a 10-year pro. And he was off, and of course that was the right move. So yeah, sometimes guys come in and they're ready to go, and maybe. That's what we're all waiting to see. That's what you're hoping for, and all of that. So we're down to take three more. The next three. Here's one. The Michigan fans and fan base will demand that Underwood starts at some point, most likely early in the season. Yeah, well, I think you're right about that, but let's just say Mateer from West Virginia is the guy. And Michigan gets out, and Tier starts in game one and plays well and starts against Oklahoma and wins that game. Michigan's 3-0. Doesn't really matter about fans. I think that when and if Michigan loses a game next year or the starter doesn't play well, that's when the fans are going to start chirping a little bit about let's get him in there and everything else. Let's see our $15 million quarterback. Let's see the, that kind of thing. And you're not caving to any pressure if you're the coaching staff. I mean, you got to have your idea and your plan, and you got to stick to it. You can't be going with the fans are really cheering for him. Let's get him in there. That you can't do that. Chase, I would refer you to the beginning of today's podcast for that. And here's Josephine saying that he's not going to graduate high school. Well, I thought he was going to be a early enrollee, so that's different from what I have heard there, JT, but you could be exactly right. Let's see. I think that Jalen Milroe will be drafted in the first round. That's what I think. That's it. The Michigan basketball team is in action tonight at 8:30. We're on after every Michigan football and basketball game. So we'll see you tonight after Michigan Xavier and the Fort Myers tip-off championship game. That'll be a lot of fun. We'll talk with you Friday here on the Good Afternoon Michigan podcast at 2 o'clock. And then we will see you after the Michigan-Ohio State game on Saturday. So all of that ahead tomorrow. Have a great day. It'll be different. The Lions, for so many years, I'd get around my family and friends, get a little sentimental about the Lions, and then, it could come crashing down. But here they are tomorrow, like the toast of all of America. And here they are at 12:30. So looking forward to that, Tim. You have yourself a great day tomorrow, and we'll see you after the basketball game tonight or on Friday or after the game on Saturday. Everybody have a great day. Reminder, we got more podcast action coming up. You want to hear about what's going on, the latest with recruiting? We've got the boys coming up in just over an hour from right now. They'll have a podcast. Hail to the podcast coming up. So look forward to that in just over an hour from right now. See you later. Have a great holiday.